7 months ago, my NSX looked like this, and now it looks like this. It has been a massive journey, a massive undertaking to get to this stage with the NSX project. 7 months ago, I set out to build my dream Honda NSX, a very, very nice, fully restored 1991 NA1 K-swap twin turbo manual NSX. Today is a huge day because today is finally the day we are painting the entire shell. In the last episode, we got all of the undercoating finished up. We already have the new frame rail installed. We have the new uniside installed. This thing is nearly ready to hit the paint booth and get a full paint job. Now, before we load this car up in the trailer and head over to the paint booth, there's a few things that we need to get done, finished up on the car, so it looks perfect underneath the paint. For starters, this whole shell is going to be painted all one color. On previous builds, I have left all the undercoating black. I'm deciding to paint it all body color like it was from the factory. 24 hours ago, we sprayed the undercoating on, and if we want to paint over the undercoating, we need to go ahead and scuff that up so the paint adheres long term. All we're going to be using is one of these. This is a maroon Scotch-Brite or a maroon scuff pad, which will work perfect to get all of this undercoating scuffed. So this is how the undercoating looks straight out of the gun. In order to paint, it needs to be dull, just like paint. Think of it just like scuffing paint for a new paint job. It's got to be dull so the paint we're applying over it sticks. There is nothing worse than sanding, so let's skip to the good part. Every square millimeter of the undercoating is now scuffed, and we're ready to move on to the next step, which is a little bit more of seam sealer, and then we can hit the booth. So first, on the interior, when we did the sound deadening removal, I damaged a bunch of the seam sealer, so we need to reseal that. And then on the rear deck, right up in here, these pipes that run from the turbos to the air to water cooler, those need to be sealed going into the deck on both sides. Lastly, the trunk that was rebuilt, it is just tack welded in. I do need to go through and seam seal all of that. The trunk turned out nice, but it was a little bit messy, so I decided to use the tape method. If you tape around your joint about 1/8 to 1/4 inch out, apply the seam sealer, and then pull the tape back, you tend to get a much cleaner end result. What I'm using here is a direct to metal seam sealer. I should have not used black because even after you seal it and paint it, you can tell that the seam sealer was a darker color than the shell. Not a super big deal, just something to note for the future. Everything is now seam sealed up and this car is ready to hit the paint booth. Finally, this has been a long time in the making. Excellent problem to have the day of painting when I need the rotisserie to work. One of the hydraulic cylinders is completely stuck. Lovely. We're all loaded up. Let's head over to the booth, get this thing painted. I hope it turns out great. I have a little worry that with that sand and the rockers and everything else that I can't get out, some of it is gonna come out during the paint job. I'm gonna do my best to avoid that. Transporting the NSX on the rotisserie in the enclosed trailer is a little hairy, but thankfully we have to go like a mile, so I'll just go slow. Car is loaded up in the booth. I need to tape off this pipe, that guy there, and that is all the masking this car needs. I definitely could have painted these pipes body color, but for it to flow nicely with the rest of the turbo kit, I feel like leaving them raw bare aluminum is gonna look the best. So being that the cylinder is stuck and I can't go down at all, my plan is to spray the underside and then use the ladder to spray everything up top. Not ideal, but I think it's gonna work out just fine. The first thing is our sealer. Definitely a rookie mistake, rookie error right here. I'm spraying gray epoxy when it should have been a different color. You guys will see here in a minute, but I do run out, so we will fix this issue here in a minute. Rookie mistake of the year. I cannot believe I did this. I ran out of my epoxy primer. We're a little more than halfway done. I need to go get more epoxy. Has been acquired. Let's get her fully epoxied up and we can move on to the base coat, which you can probably tell by looking at the sealer what color this car is going. I'm gonna have to spoil the color right now so this all makes sense. I went ahead and picked up a white sealer. Now here's why. When we're spraying a white base coat, if you apply that over a gray or a black sealer, you need way more base coat. If you apply a white sealer, you need much less base coat. I ended up going over all of the gray sealer with white sealer, so it matches. Kind of a waste of money, kind of a waste of time. You live, you learn. We are all finished up with the sealer. I ended up doing 2 coats so that the base coat will cover better and we can use less base coat. If I only did 1 coat, we would probably need 4 or 5 coats of base, 2 coats of sealer, probably 3 coats of base. There was so many different options when it came to the color for the NSX. After a lot of thinking, looking at photos, looking at vehicles, I chose Grand Prix white. I narrowed it down to either red or white. Decided on white. It was either Grand Prix or Championship white. I chose Grand Prix. Championship white looks nice. It's just a little too creamy for me. I think the Grand Prix white is gonna look amazing. It's like a really, really bright, pure white. Kind of like Summit white on the new GMCs. Now we move on to the base coat. I have a full entire gallon of this white base coat. I thought that was gonna be way more than enough. Turns out it was hardly enough. Thankfully, we were still able to get adequate coverage in the most important areas. So the end result still turned out great.
Night after night, I lie awake. A harbor sadness I can't shake.
Alright friends, we are moving on to the clear coat. So the whole car is going to get 2 coats of clear besides the roof. The roof is going to get 3 coats just because it will be cut and buffed. Of course, like the underside and the engine bay, none of that stuff will be wet sanded and polished, but the roof will. So 2 coats everywhere, roof, 3 coats, and then we're done. This is looking so good, man. Such a nice bright white, exactly what I wanted for this car. The final step, clear coat. The only thing I'm tacking off is the roof, and I'm starting with the roof as well because it is gonna get the 3 coats, whereas the rest of the car is only getting 2. So I knock out the entire roof first, making sure it lays out as flat as possible, and then we move on to the rest of the car. First coat is complete. Let's go ahead and knock out the second coat and we'll be done. Alright, the car's all finished up. It's the next day and we're going to pick it up. We're going to tow it home on the rotisserie, as yesterday unloading it at the paint booth was way too sketchy and I don't feel like losing the car. Seeing your paint work for the first time the next day is always a little bit stressful. Did the paint run? Did it react? Does it look good? Thankfully, this looks great. Eight hours and 3 entire gallons of material later, this is what we ended up with. about as white can get. It turned out so nice. And it's such a beautiful, bright white. I couldn't be more stoked. You know what? It's kind of a lie. I could be a little bit more stoked. The next complete I do, complete interior, undercarriage, everything that I do, I'm gonna do it a little bit differently. I'll be honest, that was way too overwhelming for me to do a complete like this. The underside, the inside, the whole front area, the engine bay, the trunk. The next complete I do, I'm gonna split up. If I even just painted the interior separately, not only would the whole paint job turn out better, dude, after spending 8 hours in the booth, by the time you move on to clear, which is the last step, you're so just exhausted and worn out and sick of painting at that point. I'm not saying all that to say this turned out bad. It definitely could have turned out better. There's some areas in the inside, like for example over there. That spot on the rocker, you can see I missed a little bit of base. Things like that. Granted, all that's going to be covered up. The important areas for me, of course, were the roof, which turned out phenomenal. The front area, not necessarily under the cowl, but the headlight buckets and all that turned out super nice. Almost as important as the roof was the bay. The bay turned out very, very good. Few little areas that could be better. Of course, a lot of it will be covered up as well. In the trunk, with all the turbo stuff that's going on back here, it was very important for me to have the trunk looking proper, looking nice. It turned out great. We do still have that top panel, the top floor part, which I don't know if I'm going to paint that or leave it bare, like brushed aluminum. That's easy to do later on, not too worried about that. And of course the underside, I mean, it's pure white. It's about as white can get, and it turned out super nice. So there it is, my friends, my Grand Prix white NA1 1991 Acura NSX. Now I'm gonna wait a few days before I go ahead and start assembling the car. The last thing I want to do is chip the paint, so I would rather be patient, and I would rather go work on Bobby's Evo 10 while we wait for this paint to harden up. It is now time to pick the winner for the red Type R. The FK8 2019 Civic Type R is going home to one of you guys. I'm gonna hop on Instagram Live, pick the winner. Very curious to see who's taking this car home. One of you boys is about to win a red FK8 Type R. All right, give me some thumbs ups in the chat if you're ready to win a Type R. Okay, here we go. 3, 2, 1, generate. 21996. Isaiah Maria from Pascal, Washington. Are you on here? I don't see him in the chat. Let's see if we got his number. So I live in Spokane. Isaiah, the winner of the Type R, is in Pascal, which is a 3-hour drive. I'm really hoping he'll come up here and pick the car up and take it home. No one's ever done that. I've always offered to fly anyone in and have them drive the car home. No one's ever chose that selection. They've always just wanted the car shipped. It'd be super cool to meet one of these winners in person, and they can check out all the cars and check out all the builds and take home their new car that he spent $100 to win. I just got an email back from the potential winner of the Type R. Let's give him a call. Brother, he hung up on me.
Hello?
Is this Isaiah? Am I pronouncing that right?
Yeah, Isaiah.
All right.
That's right.
What's up, man? It's Devin.
Hey, how you doing?
Good, man. Probably not as good as you, though. Can you hear me fine?
Yeah, a little bit, yeah.
One second, let me pull over. I'll just take you off of my truck. My truck tires are too loud. All right, is that better?
Yeah, man.
What's up? How's it going?
There's no way.
Were you in the live stream?
No, man. I didn't know you were gonna do it. I thought you were gonna do it yesterday night.
Yeah, I was supposed to do it last night at 6 p.m. I had to push it till this morning. But yeah, you're the winner of the Type R, man.
That is crazy, man. And from Washington too.
Yeah, there's
close to you, so.
What are you, like 3 hours away?
Yeah.
There's a ton of people from Washington, like Washington, Idaho, Oregon that enter, which makes sense because I live up here. So.
Hey, man. Well, that's good to hear, and thank you.
Yeah, absolutely, man. So there's two different options. I can ship the car to you, or being that you're fairly close, you can come up here and I'll just pay for all the fuel to get it home. So either way is fine with me.
No, I can go over there maybe next Thursday.
Yeah.
I can go.
Dude, that works perfectly fine for me.
Yeah.
Dude, that's exciting, man. Congratulations.
Yeah. Hey, thank you. Yeah, I'm sorry to all the other people, but it's
Hey,
exciting.
That's how, yeah. I mean, I wish everyone could win, but unfortunately,
Yeah.
there's only one car to give away, so it's just how it
Yeah,
works.
well, at least this one's gonna be pretty close too.
Yeah,
So,
exactly, man. Heck yeah. Well, I'll send that affidavit over, and then yeah, we'll go from there.
all right, man. Sounds good.
Congrats,
Thank
Isaiah.
you.
Absolutely.
Thank you, man.
Bye.
All right, take care. Bye.
I got my wish. Isaiah's gonna come up here next Thursday and drive the car home, so we get to meet the winner of the Type R.